Do you construct events differently now? Do you perceive your reality different now? Do you interpret events differently now that you've basically made the option method a part of your life?
I'm
or
like a
those
creature.
old knee-jerk reactions, it's hard to get
Well,
rid of a reflex.
it's interesting that you would say that, but the first part of the question, I can say that I am like a creature from another planet. Mm-hmm. I have different eyes and different ears than I had when I was younger. Mm-hmm. I view things completely differently. And now I have to say that now that I've been doing this for 30 some odd years, I'm so used to it that I have to stop a minute and think. I always have very different reactions to things than other people do.
Right.
But things still come up. In fact, I was just talking to my friend about it the other day, and I was saying, stuff still does come up, and I wonder, like, where did it come from? Why am I not done with this?
Right.
And I just say to myself, well, you're not done because you're not done. There's obviously something else that you still need to think about. But the fact is that I'm a pretty happy person.
Right, that's good.
With also a rock solid conviction about the way that I want to be in the world.
Right. You're choosing to be happy.
Yes.
And that's very, very empowering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about Bruce himself. And in the book, he's described as the guru who just brings joy to people's life. And like you said, that part's not fiction. This was
that's right.
A radiant person.
Yes, and that's such a beautiful way to put it. What can I say? I mean, when I met him, I was going through a long training program for actually group psychotherapists when I was thinking about being a psychotherapist, and he was the last person. And I walked into the room and I heard what he was saying. It blew me away. It just took my breath away. He was so certain about what he was saying. He knew that people didn't have to be unhappy. Right. And that knowledge kind of permeated everything that he did and said. And it was almost like you could feel it. You could feel the
you could feel the hope. And you could feel the joy, right?
Yeah, and he never changed that. Even when he was, he had a very unlucky life in a way. He was very, very ill. Mm-hmm. And he had a really serious illness that was extremely painful and debilitating. For the last, I would say, 10 years of his life, he suffered unbelievably. He never changed his perspective on things. I remember he gave a brilliant lecture, which is actually in the book. Mm-hmm. I wove that lecture into the book 3 weeks before he passed away. Right. So, and there's a lot in the book about, Annie sees him being taken away on a stretcher when he's having a heart attack and he's being taken away, and she looks at him as they're putting him in the ambulance, and he looks back at her, and his eyes are totally peaceful, and he gives her this brilliant smile. That was Bruce.
Yeah.
That was what he was like.
Yeah. And I'm not saying you're Annie, but I'm saying that Annie might be a character with similarities to you.
Yeah.
Is that an event that actually happened, or is that something that you imagine when you try to remember Bruce and his legacy?
Well, that particular event, in a way it did happen, because when he was being taken away and he was in the hospital, I do talk about specific things that happened, but I fictionalize them to make them more interesting and in a way make the point better, and so that he could interact more with the people around him. Right.
And in a way, you're actually making his point as well, because you can reinterpret events and have them more impactful in your life and in the lives of others. We're talking to the author of the book, The Guru Next Door by Wendy Dolber. It's a fascinating book. It explores the option method, and we're going to talk about her personal journey in writing this book when we come back. You're watching Footnote.